3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. Ignacy to Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 213, and we are recording on October 24th, 2021. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and Tom Vassal is the Baron Harkonnen to my Duke Atreides.
That is a beautiful reference.
And so begins our conversation about Dune this week, with no spoilers, of course. I was going to say he's the emperor to my Paul Mohadi, but I would kind of be calling myself a god or something like that. So I stayed away from that. So how you doing, buddy?
Very well, thank you. And I don't know, how's your Facebook feed? By my Facebook feed indeed is full of Dune for the past 2 days.
Well, mine is not, because I haven't seen it and I haven't posted about it. But today, the Dice Tower crew, we have about 20 people, mostly from the Dice Tower and their significant others, and some other people that I know. We're just going down to a theater. I rented the whole theater, and we're going to be seeing it again like we've done for a couple of times, so which is a lot of fun. Before we talk a little bit more about Dune, why don't we talk about what's going over at Portal Games?
At Portal Games, obviously, Dune is happening.
Lots of Dune.
On Friday, I invited my whole team to the cinema. I mean, my whole team who is working at HQ, like not people who are working from different cities or countries. Mm-hmm. So altogether, 23 people in the cinema. Just before we entered the cinema, I did the last moment poll, asking them who read the book, who haven't. We had 13 people who knew the book and 10 people who had no clue what's going to happen. So great adventure for them to discover the vast lore of the game, of the movie, of the book. And yes, the game, because obviously Portal Games released this past week the game Dune House Secrets, and that's why I invited everyone to watch the movie. And for me, that screening, without of course any spoilers, it will be nothing like that in my life ever. Why? Because I spent the last year designing the game. Because we were designing an official game in the Dune universe, we had access to all the secret information about the movie. We had a special dedicated Bible with all the sketches and concept art, so we know how the movie looks like. So our illustrators, our artwork team can prepare the game that is tied to the movie. So yes, we knew how some things will look like. So every couple of seconds or every couple of minutes, we were looking at the screen and say, yeah, this is how in our game. Yes, this is like illustration in our game. Like this actor, yes, we know him because he's in our game. So it was insanely fun. And as I said, it will probably never happen again in my life.
Right.
I go to the movie and watch it and see things that I know from the illustration to my game. So the whole team was super excited.
That's awesome.
And the feedback was very positive, as you probably heard from the reviews, without the spoilers. Hardcore fans of the Dune love the movie. The big question that the whole geeky world have, if the people who have no clue about the book will enjoy the movie. So for me, it was the most important question, of course. So I asked my employees, and they all loved the movie. So
good.
The very small friction of the feedback from the movie. Yes, my employees loved it. So I was very, very happy. And going back to the game is available. So I strongly recommend everyone to grab it, to check it out. Dune House Secrets is a story-driven game. It's a storytelling game. It takes the story that you will know from the movie, that you will know from the book, and it takes one of the clues, one of the plots, and you can go dig deeper and learn something more about some of the events from the book. So if you like story-driven games, if you will enjoy the movie and want to know what's more with this lore, you definitely need to invite your friends and check out the Dune House Secrets story-driven game.
That's awesome.
With the official blessing from Brian Herbert, like your story is legit, Ignacy. Yes, you can make it official. So we are all very, very, very proud.
It's really an amazing experience that you've just had, being able to do all of this work on something that you really you couldn't talk about. You saw the pictures, but now it all comes together. And now us, as people who are not part of your portion, go see the movie and go get the game, and then we can go deeper into plot lines that you have explored in your game. I think that's just so cool. So thank you. I can't wait.
Absolutely insane experience, and we had so much time. We will discuss more of this Dune later, probably in the upcoming episodes when you see the movie, when you play the game, hopefully, and have fun. But basically, guys, go check it out. Dune House Secrets, a story-driven game that takes the plot of the movie / book and dives deeper into some of the aspects of the story. But we have the most important part of this podcast. That is the brag of the week, when Ignacy brags himself. So my brag of the week for today is my dedication to the fans. It's a legendary, because as we are recording right now, the most important football match in Europe is starting. It's called El Clásico. It is Real Madrid against Barcelona, the clash that takes years of history and tradition. And instead of watching this match, I'm sitting with my friend Steven Bonacor and recording this podcast for our beloved fans. And that was my brag of the week. Pre-orders and street dates. Dune mentioned, also Dreadful Circus. Amazing feedback after Essen Fair. So I'm very, very proud. Set collection game with a lot of trash talk, a lot of table talk, a lot of negotiation, bidding, offers, brilliant design from Bruno Faiduti, so Dreadful Circus. And the last release of the year for us, Petty Officers, from the one and the only Mike Selinker, designer of the Pathfinder, the card game, and a ton of games. Like he was in the industry when I was still in the kindergarten. He's a true legend. So I'm very, very proud that I can release the official expansion for Detective, designed by Mike. Mike is a huge fan of Detective, and he's part of this signature series line of expansions. When I invited famous designers like Rob Devue or Mike Selinker, and they take their own approach on the system. So Petty Officers from Mike Selinker, a case with an amazing twist. No spoilers once again, but you will have your jaw will drop, or how you call it.
Yes,
it will be really a lot of twists in the scenario. For what's happening at HQ, we are preparing a Halloween promotion in our web store. So once again, if you are talking the Dune House Secrets, if you are discussing Dreadful Circus, check out portalgamesus.com. Check out our Halloween promotion and grab some hot items. And we mentioned this a couple of times already with Steven in the past episodes, due to the logistics problems, due to the shipping problems. If you're looking for a great gift for your friends, for your family, for Christmas, maybe the best way to buy a couple of games right now before it's too late. As for now, Dune is still in stock, but you never know what will happen in a few weeks. And Dune might be a perfect gift. It's a game that has like 6 pages of rules, super rules light. And if your friends or if your family went to the cinema or watch it on HBO Max and enjoy the story, you can surprise them. Hey, so this is a board game that takes this story. So consider that Dune House Secrets may be your perfect gift for your friends.
The perfect gift right here. I got it. Here's my Dune House Secret, so that people are seeing it who are watching watching us on YouTube.
Steven is a nerd, so I cannot wait for him to discover all the Easter eggs and secrets that we hide in the game. So I'm happy for you. Yeah, you have a great time. And the daily vlog, still recording every single day, 100 vlogs for 100 days, a crazy experiment with me trying to grow my channel. So please check it out, Portal Games Movies, my YouTube channel. Every day I'm recording hopefully interesting topic for you. So check it out, daily vlog on my YouTube channel. And that's it. Basically, Dune is happening. And this was a magical week for me to release the game and to see the movie and now to get the feedback from the fans.
Fantastic. So before I do any Dune talking, I'll go back to my crazy remodeling in this house. The main
disasters.
The main floor, as I've been saying, is mostly done, but there's still these touch-ups, and I just want this stuff to be done so bad. The upstairs, we finally have a working toilet upstairs. So the middle of the night, if you have to go to the bathroom, I don't have to walk downstairs. So that's there. And the bathrooms upstairs, which is the main thing going on right now. Once we get countertops, then we can get running water, and then the place will start really coming together. But the bathrooms are disasters. Like they're starting to look beautiful because all the tiling work is in. So once you put that tiling in there, really just you can just see the vision of what's the whole thing going to look like in the end. So it's coming together beautifully, but it's painful. And I love my contractors. They're a wonderful team, a husband and wife team with, all of the workers that come, but I want them out of my life at this point. I want to be friends with them. I want to go have dinner and drinks with them, but I want them out of my house. It's insane how long this is going on. I just can't believe it. This is completely my own fault. Completely my fault that I decided let's start this and then just keep it going forever. But I guess, once it's done, it's going to be amazing. So parties will start happening and things will start happening at my house for anybody in South Florida and my family if they're coming in. And Ignacy, if you come in.
This year, it will finish this year?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, God, I hope so. Yeah. By the end of November. Now it's waiting on a lot of supply chain things, waiting on some fixture, some faucets and things like that, which are going to be one of the last things we get because we wanted these particular ones. So by the end of November, yes, it's all going to be done. But speaking of that, we get to, things that are happening. This is a month of not traveling. So that makes it even driving me more crazy with them being around so much, doing a lot of, staycations, so to speak, driving the Corvette around, which is kind of fun. Of course, we went down to Miami yesterday. We went to Little Havana, which was wonderful. We had a walking tour of the Cuban area, the most densely populated, because it's a very Latin America down in Miami. But we went to Little Havana. We had this great walking tour that we booked through Airbnb, which I thought was amazing. They have sort of like TripAdvisor. They also have a whole section where you can book various things. You can book rooms, of course, but you can book tours and different things. So I found this thing, and one of the things I gave to Paula for her birthday was this walking tour of Little Havana. And I can't tell you how cool it was, because if I would have went down there alone, I would have not known where to look, whatever. So it was just great. We saw people hand rolling cigars. We ate the best empanadas I've ever had. Cuban sandwich. The Cuban sandwich, by the way, was not invented in Cuba. We found out the history of the Cuban sandwich and all this stuff. But of course, it's now been adopted as truly a Cuban thing. Anyway, that's what's going on right now. And of course, I mentioned today, Dune is happening. About 20 people are going to see it, 20 or so. It's going to be a big, big crowd. I can't wait. And I'm praying that Paula likes Dune a lot as well, because then she'll play the game with me and the world will be great. So that's my goal here today. Make that happen. I hope she does. I won't try not to bug her too much so that she finds and she loves it. November is going to be huge. It's going to be the Dice Tower retreat up in Orlando, which is going to be fantastic. Another road trip up there. And then BGG Con later in the month. And directly from there, going to Thanksgiving with my family right at the end of the month. PAX U 2 weeks after that. So more traveling, and I have a special trip I'll talk about at the end of December that's going to happen. Meanwhile, that's enough of this. Let's find out what's happening in the industry and the news in the event deck. So the first thing that we found out, this comes from our crack reporter, Eric Hanwies. I believe I've pronounced his name correctly this time. I actually asked him how to pronounce it. And he found this out, and I'm not gonna be able to read the article because it's in French, but it's about a paper pricing antitrust issue in the EU. Paper suppliers have allegedly agreed to price controls of their papers, of the paper that they use to print, that they use to supply to printers, which is illegal. So the EU is now suing them. Ignacy, I don't know if you had heard about this at all, but Eric reported on it. He actually then asked Ludofact, who was unaware of the problem. So it's interesting that while it's definitely happening, because there is now a lawsuit going on, which obviously is bad in general for the industry if there are price controls going on. but hopefully that will now get rid of that, so they will be able to have free pricing in the free market, which is, of course, the way you want things to work.
Yeah, we every week we report some dreadful story about our industry, and we wish that there is no follow-up apps, and then suddenly a news like that. When I saw it in the show notes, I was again some troubles. Like, we need these manufacturers to start working, to have no issues with paper, to have a good prices, to have no problem with logistics, and then news stories pop up like in this some super crazy role-playing game session by the mad game master, designed to make all these troubles. It's bad, obviously. Like, it's really even hard to comment. Like, if there was something like that, and I guess there was, if there is like a official lawsuit that it is not a gossip, this is not a rumor, this is a fact. But I don't believe, as a Slavic person, I don't believe that in the effect of this lawsuit, the prices for paper will go down. It will not happen. I don't see it.
Well, it depends on how true it is, and if I mean, it should. I mean, we're not talking about go down by 50%, but if the case is real, and if they bring them, to court, it's going to have to happen, because you cannot fix prices. They might say, okay, we're not fixing prices, and the prices do stay the same. It is possible. But
that's what I'm saying. Yes.
Somebody is then going to say, well, I might as well slip my prices down a little lower now. It's usually what happens. And then you have the market will find its level on its own. We don't need people manipulating the things like that.
If there is any good news about producing board games, we will report. we will even do a special episode. Hey guys, breaking news, good news finally.
Oh, we do have good news. And here's Simon doing some fun stuff. They're acquiring an RPG studio, which is interesting. So Simon acquires award-winning RPG studio Two Little Mice. Never heard of them. Simon is pleased to announce the acquisition of Two Little Mice, the tabletop RPG studio founded by Riccardo Sirignano and Simone Fomicola, and later strengthened by the addition of illustrator Daniele Gubiellini. All these nice Italian names. The award-winning label will serve as a publisher of Simon's growing line of RPG and story-focused gaming products. So, have you ever heard of this group, Two Little Mice?
No. I was introduced to a Zombicide role-playing game because I'm a partner for Simon, so I knew about this role-playing game. But I didn't know that it was designed by the dedicated studio. So I was not digging deeper into a Zombicide role-playing game. But apparently, Simon wants to do more role-playing games. Want to bring this is not in. Some knowledge I have, but I'm just thinking aloud, like Blood Rage role-playing game or something like,
right.
Taking their biggest IPs and changing them into the role-playing games. I'm surprised. For years, it was Dungeons and Dragons, it was Pathfinder, and then there was nothing, and indie role-playing games. And then now seeing more and more these smaller role-playing games becoming more popular. Like, of course, we reported Dungeons and Dragons going like crazy this year, like never before.
Unbelievable.
But also the smaller publishers, the smaller independent role-playing games are getting more and more attention. So for me, old role-playing gamer is a good news.
Yep.
For me as a partner for Simon is not that good news, because Simon wants me to do Zombicide role-playing game in Poland, and I'm not super interested in that. So there are some talks and discussions. This is not the path that we are interested in doing in Poland. So seeing our partner doing it in English, it brings interesting topics to the negotiations.
Very, very, very interesting. And just to bring this full circle, Rico, Simone, and Danielle are joining the Simon's role-playing games and narrative board games division, which is headed by designers Francesco Nepitello and Marco Maggi, who we actually reported on. They did the Zombicide Chronicles role-playing game, and they are co-designers of my favorite game, War of the Ring. So these guys are really good at what they do. So I have full confidence that this whole endeavor by Simon is going to work. So Ignacy, maybe you should publish it, but it's up to you. Role-playing games are very, very difficult and very different portion of our market. So I don't blame you for being wary of that.
And on top of that, lots of cost of translation. Like with a board game, you translate 16 pages of rulebook. with role-playing game, you translate 300 pages of rulebook.
Yes.
Small change.
That's a lot different. You're absolutely right. So here's some great news in the industry, and this is reported by Alliance Game Distributors. We always talk about them as being the largest game distributor in the United States, though with the surgeons, the Asmodee distribution becoming now a thing and becoming probably the biggest, or if not, they're right there with Alliance. Alliance is now saying that sales by Diamond and Alliance are up strongly versus 2019, and it's record sales. So they're saying that Diamond Comics and Alliance Game Distributors, in conjunction with Diamond Retailer Summit held over the past few days, are reporting the sales are strongly up versus 2019, the last full pre-COVID year, despite losing key lines in 2020, meaning all of the Asmodee lines. Sales by Alliance Game Distributors were up 23.4% year to date versus 2019, the company reported. Alliance lost its hobby exclusive on Asmodee US lines in mid-2020, which was likely the company's largest or second largest lines. And despite that loss, they indicate very healthy sales in the underlying market, perhaps some pickup of market share on the Wizards of the Coast lines due to Wizards of the Coast ending its relationship with ACD distribution, which affected sales beginning fall 2020. So again, Ignacy, big numbers posted here for a company who obviously took a big dip in 2020 due to everything. COVID, losing all of the Asmodee products, and now reporting, well, we're even bigger now by 25% almost than they were in 2019. Fantastic.
Yeah, congratulations. I would never expect that. Slavik Ignacy, when he heard about them losing Asmodee titles, like exclusivity for the Asmodee titles, I would rather predict that they are going in a big trouble. And here we see the numbers that they just did amazing. So kudos to the whole team, because it probably took a lot of work to re-strategize what they need to sell, how they need to approach the retailers. They mentioned here the case that ACD at the same time lost Wizards of the Coast, so Alliance probably took a lot of sales of Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. Anyway, kudos, congratulations. I would never predicted that after this big blow of losing Asmodee, they are still growing.
Absolutely. So putting in perspective again, the problems that we're having in the logistics portion of our industry, and that of all industries with containers. This has been all over the news, so I don't think I'm going to stay too much on this, but the number of when this article was written, we're talking about Scott Thorne. We mentioned his articles a lot. He's a retailer. He has a PhD. He does a lot of work in the industry, and he writes about it. And he was reporting on the fact that the port of Los Angeles and the one that's next to it, and I can't remember it right now, and I'm not seeing it right here in the article, that there were 62 container ships parked off the coast of California on September 23rd. That's approximately 1 month before this. And by the way, I saw it again over the last couple of days, and that number has not changed, hasn't gone down. Normally, the number of ships waiting to unload their cargo on any given day is like 1 or 0. That's the big difference about what's happening. Anything coming into the West Coast of the US is getting hammered right now. And this is going to so have problems affecting this holiday season that it's going to be crazy. And I believe we mentioned, and if we haven't, I'll mention it now again, that major retailers, Target, Costco, Walmart, are now buying container time for like the entire next year. They're just saying, okay, we're going to prepay it all for everything we're going to be doing next year. So we own, air quotes, own the ships for the next year so that we can bring out products in, which is just going to make everything even worse, of course. So not a good situation there. Let's see, Ignacy, we're back to negative news.
Yeah. I listened to the podcast. I'm listening to the Daily from New York Times. And a couple of days ago, there was a whole episode about the logistic problem and chains, and they provided a ton of data about how many containers are stuck on very different parts of the world. And the bottom line, which was the most terrifying, was that is not a problem that we can solve in a couple of months. The waves of this problem, looking for the final solution when it will smooth. It's not the case of the few months. It will take a lot longer time, and of course for us, it's terrifying because, as we always say, our hobby, our industry is still a niche. So what Steven just said, bigger companies will take care to have their containers, to have their ships for running their businesses, and portal games may not have a.
We're not going to have them. That's right.
So
that's right.
My stuff will be waiting in the port when some of the more richer and with more influence will get their items on the ship.
Right. So this is just a very interesting title to what I ended up writing here, but it was Steve Jackson Games. They had a price increase, and they said they believe that this is potentially, they're on the verge of an existential event. Ignacy, you know what the word existential means?
Yes, it's not a good word.
It's not a good word. It's really a bad word.
In my not native language, the connotation I have in the head as a person who learned this language is dinosaurs.
Yes,
they had this threat.
The existential event for dinosaurs was the big asteroid that hit Earth and changed the climate.
So that's why I don't like this word.
It's a bad word. So Steve Jackson Games announced price increases on their Munchkin, Zombie Dice, and Illuminati products, which will take effect on January 1st, 2021. The price increases are due to increased overhead manufacturing and shipping costs. The new price increases will affect Munchkin core sets, which will have their MSRPs go from $24.95 to $29.95, and Munchkin $34.95, etc. But the thing about this, okay, price increases of $5 on a small game is a fairly significant percentage, but not a tremendous amount. But the thing that struck me is that my friend Phil Reed, who's the CEO of Steve Jackson Games, he referred to the logistical problems in the industry that the industry is facing as a possible extinction level event. And that was also reported by Scott Thorne, who we mentioned. He mentioned and used those words a little while ago in one of his articles. So these things it certainly is possible that this is the case, that these things become that. What I would say more likely, and the way that I view it, is that this will be an existential or extinction level event for certain companies that don't have evergreen type products that they can reprint over time and they know that they'll sell. But if you're getting a brand new game and you can't fill a container, for one, or you get it here and it doesn't sell, you're going to be having this product with a really high landed cost hanging out. It's going to be bad for you. So not good.
Every week for the past few months, we say the same message. Please, players, be patient. Please understand the difficult situation. Please don't use lots of hate on publishers these days, because we are struggling tremendously. And if you see price increase, if you see the delay, if you see some Kickstarter saying in the update that there is some delay, nobody is making fun of it. Nobody is trying to rip you. We are just struggling. Once again, to give an example of like a real example from Portal Games here in Poland, for instance, we printed Marvel United, and a great game from Simon. It was supposed to be released in Poland for summertime, so it was our June release. We paid for the print, obviously, and we paid for everything. And then logistic problems. The whole print run of the game was stuck in the port in China for June, July, August, September, and it released late October. For 5 months, the product was stuck in China. The product I already paid. So that may be companies, smaller companies, they pay and they don't have money from selling the product and they're out of the business. If they don't have, a reserve, we are talking about the big numbers for the games. So once again, players, please understand the very difficult situation worldwide in all industries, and please understand that our industry is a small one and we need your help and not your bad emotions in the internet.
Got you. Correct. Ignacy, I know you want to move on. I'm gonna mention this article that I got this week very quickly. It's Paizo, who's the second largest of the RPG companies. Pathfinder, which I play. Pathfinder, I play edition 1. They have edition 2. It's huge, huge. Their employees are organizing a union. A group of 31 employees of Paizo, publisher of Pathfinder and Starfinder games, are announcing the formation of United Paizo Workers Union, affiliated with the Communication Workers of America. There's very little detail here other than the people are saying they love their jobs and their coworkers, but they believe that the company needs to address some issues within it to a greater degree. This is the first time that a role-playing game company has had a union associated with it. So I think we'll see how this plays out over time. Paizo did not respond to requests from the writer on ICV2 for this, but let's see how this plays out. I just wanted to bring that up so we would finish all the news that we have in this list, because there's something coming up in our next segment that we're going to talk about. Let's go to strategy and tactics. All right, so Mark Dobronic, who's at Maddo78, he says, great show. I'm listening from episode 1 and enjoy every week listening to you both. I have some eco questions. Do you guys drive an electric car? I think you know the answer to that on mine now, Marco. Do you have solar on your house? What is the situation with EVs and solar in Florida and Poland? Do manufacturers use recycled paper, plastics, and wood? Does the board game industry move toward more recycled, environmentally friendly path? So let me start. Marco, as you know, I just bought a Corvette, so not an electric car. That's goes without saying. My next car will probably be electric. That is the wave of the future, and I believe that that's where we're going to be heading. So I've actually, as I'm doing the upgrades to the remodeling of the house, we put in a new sub panel for electric, and I said, hey guys, make sure that this sub panel is big enough to handle whatever I need when I have an electric car in here. And the guy said, okay, we're not going to get the small one, we're going to get the larger one. So I'm preparing for that. As far as solar, I can't. In Florida, you would think it would be the perfect place to put solar around. We're not allowed to because of the rules of the community. Solar isn't exactly the prettiest thing to see on homes. I believe, though, that in the not too distant future, there'll be options to change your roof itself such that it will look good, the same as they kind of do now, but they will be able to produce electrical power that you can use and put on the grid. I have to wait for that kind of thing to happen due to homeowner association rules. I would love to do that, and I would even pay extra to be able to do that, so I would feel better. And just to talk about the manufacturers, something that we didn't report on, I got to go find this article because we did talk about it on Board Game Breakfast with Tom and Z, that there is a company in Europe that is starting an eco line of games, and they're kind of like rolling. Most of them are small and they're rolling rights, and they only use recycled products, which is kind of cool. The box is recycled, the paper inside is recycled, kind of cool. So sure, there's going to be a move toward it, but you can't, as we've talked about in the past, you can't look to the smallest manufacturer, the smallest publishers to lead that. As the bigger ones can do it, so can we moving forward. So look for it to happen. Just don't look for it to happen overnight. Ignacy, how's your situation in Poland, and and any comments about the board game industry?
Yeah, so the company you mentioned, they are releasing these Quicks and many other roll and writes. They had an amazing catalog at Essen, and they were showing the special retailer's container for all the games, and this was all the cardboard, and the cards are packed in the cardboard as well. So this is not the whole line of the games is eco-friendly, but they're starting like releasing some of their best titles, releasing the new version of eco-friendly. As we discuss in the company, as we look at the trends, what people are looking for, what the publishers are doing, I think we will see more and more publishers going in this road. That they will try to use as low a number of plastic as possible. We have here in Poland the company called Trefl, that is a manufacturer of cards, and they opened a whole new plant that is in their press release was called as eco-friendly. So I don't know how it changes in terms of production, but it is called eco-friendly. And so yes, more and more publishers are more vocal about being eco-friendly. For us, like a small publisher, for instance, what we are doing, like a small step, because I believe every small steps adding up together will do a difference. For instance, when we are sending packages from our web store, here in Poland, we have a special, I bought, it's very expensive, by the way, this is ridiculous, machine that provides like a cardboard pieces that you put in the box so the item is not damaged. So previously we were using these plastic stuff that you wrap the package, and now we are using the cardboard ones that we are producing in-house from this machine. So we have small steps, but we are going there, and I believe that it is a good direction. So yes.
Yeah, that's good, right? Small steps all add together. It's good. Joseph Leone, who's at Leone EJ, he has said technology will eventually lead to an augmented reality system for gaming. He believes a future in which my Kallax full of board games will be replaced by a single board able to set up almost any game, combining the video, computer gaming, and board gaming worlds. He believes. As a publisher, are you concerned about the future in which a physical board game will become as popular as an 8-track tape or 45? Will there be a place for publishers in this future? Ignacy, are we all going away?
Well, first of all, Steven managed to get retired before the big change, so he's fine. Now I need to manage to get retired in time. And on a serious note, I was like a sort of a precursor of trying all these e-devices. So I did first Martians in 2017, the game with the app. I did Monolith Arena Alexa skill that teaches you how to play the game. So I'm playing with all these new devices, with these new ideas. Neuroshima Hex was the second app in the App Store back then in 2009 or 8. And it's too early. Like I'm always trying these new things, but I'm far too early. So I don't see the big change happening in these 5 years or 10 years. Society needs to get used to these devices. So I guess Steven was rooting for me for years, but I guess he was saying that, Ignacy, you're rushing the changes.
I mean, it's another kind of like baby steps thing. We see it. We saw you tried to do it. Didn't work as well as you'd like. We see the integration of technology with board games in very interesting ways. Your whole Dune detective series is an integration. I do not believe that in my lifetime, okay, I'm old, or even in Ignacy's lifetime, he's kind of young, it's not going to happen where board games are going to go away and everything will be like the tables will all be iPads or whatever you want to call that, tablets, right? Your table will be a tablet and you'll push on a thing and all of a sudden a game will show up in 3D or even in a 2D with 3D looking. It's not going to happen. The infrastructure, the physical cost to do those things is astronomical right now to try to implement something like that. So there are, and then forget about the software costs, right? The development costs to make that happen. It's just too great. So it's not going to happen. And we as gamers want to get together. So like how do we get together then, like at our coffee shops or at conventions? They're going to roll in 1,000 tables. It's just not, it's not an economically feasible thing. So I believe, and as you can see by the great economic news we keep talking about, except for containers and things, all of the stuff that's going on right now, bigger sales, everybody's doing well. The big publishers are doing well. Certainly the mid-sized publishers are doing well. We're not going away. This industry is here to stay for the long term. It's growing still, maybe at a slower pace over time, but it's still growing. We're in good shape. Next question is a real interesting one. It's by Scott V, who's at Scott Dawn 1. And I took this question, Scott, because I'm not scared of any questions. This is not a question for the podcast, but about the podcast. As of today, you are at the bottom of page 21 for questions. Technically, we're like now after he said this and it's applicable. We're at like page 33 in now questions. At roughly a rate of 3 questions per week, it will take 2 years to get caught up with all the questions currently out there, making several of them outdated or no longer relevant. Have you thought about, or will you please have an episode, something like once a month, where you do nothing but answer a questions blitz and knock out 10 or so at a time? P.S. I love the show, but want more questions answered. Dude, I dig it. I understand. But almost all the questions, and I'd say over 90% of the questions, are questions that can be answered at any time. They apply to the industry. They apply to how publishing works, how designers can do things, how you can get a job, what's the cost of this versus this. All this stuff is relevant forever. The news is relevant for a really short period of time. And that's why we try to get as much of the news done every week as we can, and then take questions as we can take them. Having said that, sure, we'll try to do some episodes with more questions. And in fact, I'm going to promise you this, the next episode is going to have more questions than this episode or many of the previous ones. Why? Because we just ran out of news. I made sure that that last news segment that I just did about Paizo is the last news in our show notes. And normally we scrape a few more per week, but we haven't been scraping as many because we're in a down news cycle. That just happens. So guess what, Scott and everybody out there, pretty certain that the next few episodes will be packed with strategy and tactics questions for you all. Sound good, Ignacy?
You sound like a Gandalf, the wise man.
Thank you, Ignacy. I will accept that moniker. And with that, why don't we go directly to our playtesting segment? You know, guys, I got to get Ignacy out here before he wants to kill me. He's got to go watch his football.
El Clásico.
The classic is being played right now, and Ignacy is so nice to do this with me. So here is my question this time to all of you out there, and of course to Ignacy, and it's part of the theme of this episode, is that sometimes we want to know about your other geek culture likes and experiences. So we ask you out there, and we ask Ignacy, but he's told us already, did you see the new Dune movie? If not, will you see it soon in theaters or streaming? And what did you think about it? Did you see the original Dune movie in 1982? If so, what did you think of it? No spoilers. People out there, when you post in the guild, make sure you just say what kind of your experience was, and don't give any spoilers. So Ignacy, I think you answered most of it except for the original movie.
Oh, I didn't see the original movie. I just saw fragments. It looks terrible, and I said no, I don't want to see it. I have follow-up questions. Did you see the movie? But did you read the book? If maybe after watching the movie, you are now eager to read the book, for instance, and it was a case for one of my employees who said she had this book for years at home, and now she is going to read the book. And then the follow-up question: if after leaving the cinema, you said, okay, I want to know more. And if you're looking forward for the more stories, and if you're looking for playing Dune House Secrets. So yes, basically we want to know more if this movie convinced you to love the lore, the vast lore that we geeks already knew.
I am writing all this stuff down so you can keep putting it all in our question on playtesting. So as you know, I have not seen it yet. I'm about to see it, like within the next 4 hours. I'll be at the movie theater getting ready to watch this. I cannot wait. I have never read the books, none of it. So I have very, very, very little touch point with the lore of Dune. I did see the original Dune movie in 1982.
Did you erase it from the head?
So let me finish my whole thought on this. When I remember this like it was yesterday. I first saw that movie, I thought it was like incomprehensible. The movie it explains nothing. You don't connect with things. You don't understand it. Somebody back then in 1982, they explained the lore of Dune. They explained it all to me. And I said, oh, now I understand the movie and this and that. And I think I saw the movie again and actually enjoyed it. I should have left it at that, Ignacy, because you know what I did this week? I went back and I watched Dune 1982.
Why?
I have to implore everybody out there, whether they like Dune, don't like Dune, gonna see the movie, not gonna see it, do not watch Dune 1982 ever again.
You should ask me before. Come on. That's obvious.
It's so bad. I can't, from every level, that movie is bad. It's the cinematography is bad. The acting is bad. I mean, with certain exceptions, there are good moments. The direction, how the director decided. This is a Zemeckis movie. Zemeckis, he was a big director. It's terrible. Everything he did with that movie is bad on every level. So I'm sorry, anybody out there who liked that movie and thinks it's some kind of work of, it's awful. That is my take on rewatching Dune 1982. Literally, I watched part of it like this week, and then it was getting too late, and I'm like, and Paula said to me, "Why did we do this?" And I'm like, I don't know, but I have to finish.
You made Paula watch it?
But this is probably going to be good because now when she sees the new one, she'll probably be happy. At least I pray that she'll be happy when she sees the new one. But
oh my God, what did you do?
Anyway, I know. So everybody out there listening, there's my rant. As the Bonico rant for this week. Don't watch the 1982 one, but I have a feeling you're going to like the new one. So go check that one out. And let us know about what your experience with the new movie is, what the old movie is, if you read the books, all that. Ignacy's going to copy and paste all these great questions that we have here in our show notes right now into a new thread on the Guild, on Board Game Geek, so you can tell us what you think all about Dune. No spoilers. Now, let's get over to the final scoring. Thank you all so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct guild, in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. To answer our question to you from our play testing segment all about Dune, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page, which is /Portal Publishing and /Podfather Gaming. Our websites are portalgamesus.com, podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for our newsletters, and get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, you can speak directly to Ignacy and Steven. On Twitter, it's @PortalGamesUS and @PodfatherGaming. Same on Instagram. And on YouTube, go check us out. Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. And you can watch us there. Watch this exact episode and all of our episodes going on now on my YouTube channel. We hope to see you in an upcoming convention as the crisis unwinds. Board Games Insider was professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. And if you'd like him to edit your podcast or hire him for other audio work, please contact him on Twitter or email on thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Also, that great voice you hear doing our intro, outro, and in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, this brings us to the end. Is there anything special you'd like to say to the audience now?
I'd like to invite you to watch my vlog episode about how I discovered Dune, how I met the Dune lore for the first time. And I assure you it was a much better experience than Steven watching this stupid Dune movie with Sting or whatever. Like,
oh my God, it's so bad. And with that, everyone, take care. We'll see you in a week. Bye-bye.
Take care.
There it is.